The Star Ladder I-League 13 Chinese qualifier. Here we have the Phase 1 group stages, Group A, and we're going to be looking at the second matchup for this morning or evening, wherever you may be. It's only 4:30 by me, no problem. Going to be going for another 3 hours perhaps. So, yeah, it's going to be Esport Dream versus VG Gaming Potential, and already we see Esport Dream actually taking Game 1 of this two-game series. Was quite unexpected. There was kind of a back and forth, and there was just a point in the game where ESD's teamfight-oriented draft, revolving around this Darkseer Winter Wyvern, really just came into its own. Really had some great potential, and really limited the options of VG.P to play around it. So, overall, great stuff. ESD taking the first game and looking to at least force a draw out of VG.P, if not taking it 2-0 for that 3-point value. Anyways, we're going to be jumping into the draft now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Blaze, and let's check it out. So, we have over here the bans Winter Wyvern and Darkseer. ESD, they value those picks. They don't want to give either of them away, so they'll ban them both out. The Doom and the Night Stalker are the bans for VG Gaming Potential, leading us to this first pick Slardar, answered back by the Tusk Queen of Pain. You'll notice the Spirit Breaker, which has been banned out a lot in China, is not present in this draft whatsoever. You will also notice then, of course, the Ember Spirit was picked up to respond to the Queen of Pain. A pretty solid hero against this, and yeah, I'm surprised Windranger didn't catch the eye of VG Gaming Potential. They actually banned it out instead of letting it through. So they prioritized Dazzle as their pick in Phase 2. And then, of course, banning out the Windranger and the Templar Assassin. Don't want to have to deal with a physical burst that is coupled with the amplification of damage. They take out 3 essentially physical-oriented heroes by picking 1 and banning 2. On the other hand, Esport Dream, they ban out the Ancient Apparition Undying, so we're going to see the laning phase go a little bit smoother for ESD. And I feel like this AA pick is showing something, because you're not really worried about Ancient Apparition as an Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit's got Flame Guard, he's fine. AA is good with Queen of Pain, I'll give you that. Ice Blast and Sonic Wave together can take out essentially half of the effective HP of any hero. But I feel like it's telling us more. I feel like they want to go for a heal-dependent hero, and the natural one would be the Alchemist. So I'm curious if that's something that they'll look to. For now, they've got the Lich Slardar, Lich sacrificing for Slardar's lane, forcing a dual lane out of their safe lane. On the other hand, VG Gaming Potential tapping heavily into reserve time here, thinking about what they want to go with. Do they want to pick Alchemist for themselves? Do they want to have an invasion strategy that revolves around the Tusk +1? And it is going to be that Bounty Hunter, so some real potential there. They know that Lich is going to be focused on the bottom lane. They want to really force the issue on that top lane. And on top of that, we know that Adong is happy to play the Bounty Hunter if he gets the opportunity. Not that he probably would with a Lich, but you never know. So yeah, Bounty Hunter Tusk going to be in that off lane, Dazzle supporting the safe lane while Queen of Pain goes mid. And Queen of Pain is going to be facing potentially one of the more frustrating opponents to go up against. The Viper is able to dominate in last hits for the majority of the laning phase, and there's not a lot of Queen of Pain can do to punish him, especially not before the Sonic Wave. Maybe you get a Tusk rotation, you get Bounty Hunter Tusk, all of them, to go in and just knock this Viper out, but right now ESD have a very solid frontliner who probably can pick up the mechanism. Spirit Breaker going to be that final ban out here. Juggernaut, the answer back. And now VG Gaming Potential are pressed for time. I like how ESD are using the reserve time against VGP. They say, well, if you're indecisive about your picks, your bans, well, we'll just immediately snap pick the Viper, snap ban the Juggernaut, and put you on the clock to think about their last pick here. This is going to be most likely a safe lane farmer in the hands of Fan. Whereas a Phantom Lancer probably wouldn't be good here. What's good against the Lich Slardar dual lane? Well, not a Juggernaut. That's banned out. So we'll have to see. Slark isn't too bad this game, to be honest with you. I kind of like it. Can stick to targets pretty effectively. Safe lane Blink Farmers are actually pretty good here. They go with the Gyrocopter, though. That's probably the safest pick, just to all-around get your value out of. And yeah, we might see Jixing on that, in fact, because, like I said, Fan did transition to the mid lane since I last cast them. So Fan should be running that Queen of Pain. That would be Jixing's Gyrocopter. That'll be fun to say. And then Disruptor's actually going to be the last pick for ESD. So really focused on controlling positioning here. Obviously the starter goes for the big jumps, and then Disruptor follows. I think that's the biggest strength of their lineup here. If Carrot gets off to a decent start, I feel like the Disruptor will be able to follow that up nicely. The Kinetic Static is just a natural combo to put after Searing Chains and to put after the Slithering Crush. The issue is, obviously, Carrot was the one to get a slow start in Game 1, and that just can't happen here for this Slaughter. He's on the dire side. It's just not going to be easy, but of course the Lich will do him some favors there. If Esports Dream can block off the Radiant Creep Camp pull and get continuous sacrifices on the bottom lane from the Lich, it should not be too bad for Carrot. On the other hand, the Lich's focus there will frustrate them elsewhere when we look at the top lane and that Bounty Hunter Tusk giving them the business. So, for now, we'll see the early game movement. Cool charge in from the horned behemoth that the Disruptor calls his mount. It's like I don't know. What is it actually? Does it actually have like a specific name? Valakul. The two-legged fish hammerhead rhino. I'm not too sure. But there you go. Anyways, Adong's going to be running on that support, playing a full 5, as you can see, entirely dependent on the consumables. Whereas at least the Lich gets to buy a little something for himself. That being said, we've got Ember Spirit with 8 tangos in the safe lane, expecting a little bit of harassment, and the Viper with 6 to himself. So going to be, doing a little bit of deforestation here on mid. Slaughter actually caught out completely, but I don't think the Orb of Venom's enough to really catch him out. The Snowball is up top. So, with Yang being unable to contribute, Carrot can go this far out and not be punished too heavily. Even the Rocket Barrage,
30 seconds to battle.
It would have maybe forced a sprint. Maybe if you go for the Rocket Barrage there, you could force a sprint. So I think maybe if Jixing auto-attacked once or twice less and just went in close proximity for the Barrage, that might have been better. But either way, he's got his full mana pool. And we'll actually see Dogfights make his move to the top rune spawn. They might be able to sentry this though. They know that Dogfight is making his way there when he invis, so they might just drop the sentry and get the chains, which would be really good for them. Instead, it's just going to be Viper clicking as fast as he can. He will, of course, get the bounty rune, while Fawn on the Queen of Pain takes one for her own. So, Lich will be able to start off with a level 1 sacrifice, and it's actually going to be eating the range creep on mid. This is less experience. Wait, is it more? No, it's less experience, yeah. The range creep gets more gold and less experience. Anyways. So they'll go ahead and do that just to reshift their equilibrium, since the range creep does piercing damage. It's obviously very good to reset the lane, but we're just gonna this is just gonna turn into kung fu fighting real quick. A 2 versus 2 that gets the bounty hunter an easy kill. And you just gotta wonder why the Viper stayed so long. Like, he has the complete judgment call in this engagement. He knows where the damage is coming from. He knows how long he can stay in. Maybe he got caught off guard by the Shadow Walk bonus damage, as the bounty hunter's last hit did get that plus 30 bonus damage while he sacrifices himself to the creeps. But yeah, I'm not too sure. That death, generally speaking, shouldn't happen. The Viper might have to back down, but he shouldn't. Without Corrosive Skin, he shouldn't keep fighting in that kind of situation. And he goes for Nether Toxin for last hitting. So all in all, we're going to see a very different landing experience than what we saw previously. And Bounty Hunter, with that early level 1 suicide, is now going to make his way up top, TPing up with Boots and Orb of Venom. And that's going to be very punishing to Adong here. But he's actually just going to go ahead and jack the creep wave, harassment later, experience first. He wants that Janata, and now he's got it. Sentry Ward does come out, but we'll look over at Queen of Pain, who's fighting out against Viper pretty actively here. No Corrosive Skin, but 2 points in Shadow Strike. I say Fan probably has the advantage here, despite Viper's strength in a level 1 1v1. Or not level 1 necessarily, but just a 1v1. No. When his skills start coming into play. Dogfight's going to be picking up a bounty rune, leaving an illusion bottom, which nobody really cares about. So Slaughter is doing okay for himself here, 5 and 2. Mid lane, it's 8 and 5 for the Queen of Pain, and the Viper is only here at 5 and 1. Just getting harassed back very heavily. Already eating so many tangos, even a healing salve, as well as feeding the first blood. I feel like this Viper's gotten off on the wrong foot. Up top here, Yang getting very involved here onto Adong. He doesn't have the support of the Bounty Hunter though, so it's kind of a distraction. And we'll look over at mid and see how the rest of the exchange are happening. A Sentry Ward here against the Bounty Hunter makes it impossible for him to close in. And yeah, he's not going to be able to find much of anything. Yeah, and the range creeps do give slightly more gold. On average, about 5 more gold, and the experience is 20 less. So, Lich really just sacrificed for the sake of the creep equilibrium and pulling it under tower. Turned out not to be the best call. Viper didn't get anything really out of that early level 1 back and forth. We're going to see Dogfight look for the Courier Snipe, classic Bounty Hunter things. Could also look for a tower dive if Queen of Pain gets a little bit more harassment here on the Viper. But Dogfight's just doing his thing, moving about the map. This guy is a roaming mastermind. He loves to just be active on the map and to find those opportunities to pick people off. But so far, those opportunities have, for the most part, eluded him. He got a freebie on the Viper, but since then, not really much has happened. Courier loaded up with goodies here for both the Viper and the Disruptor. I don't think Dogfight's going to be able to snipe one like that, though. That's really difficult. Oh, but Viper might just go down here. Yeah, he's going to be dropping extremely low. Gets the delivery, but Queen of Pain gets the kill. Just going in and using that Shadow Strike and Scream against him. And Viper is really in a bad way. Now he has at least some stats to play around with the Ring of Aquila finish, but just overall, a really bad laning experience. I mean, just look at experience per minute. Viper is at 315. Queen of Pain's at 450. Again, a 50% advantage here for the Nemesis 1v1. And Queen of Pain's going to look for more. Jumps up, doesn't have the Sonic Wave, but they've got the Snowball. They're going to go right on this Ember Spirit here. One Scream, he'll be dropping down quick, but Flame Guard will actually start turning this around. They didn't break the Immolation effect. It's a level 2 Flame Guard, and the Scream is insufficient. That's going to be the death of the Tusk instead, as the TP comes in from Slardar. Now, it's good at least to upset Slardar's position on the lane. Like, Carrot was pretty fine and dandy going up against the Gyrocopter earlier. 14 and 3 here. It's really good for the Slardar. But in the end, they get the kill on the Tusk instead of losing the Ember, and that still is overall great for ESD. Oh, this is kind of annoying. Ice Armor and Corrosive Skin. So you've got a magic resistance of 20%, which totals up to 40%. You added it multiplicatively. And then you got +3 armor from the Ice Armor, as well as an attack speed reduction that stacks whenever you get a single right-click on him. It's going to be hard for Bounty Hunter to get more than just 2 hits off on a Viper, and 0 in the case of the Sentry Ward. So, yeah, I think the Ice Armor is actually a really nice little synergy there. The attack speed reduction, just really frustrating for a lot of heroes. It's like it's not as strong as Enchantress, of course, but you've got attack speed slow of 25 and attack speed slow of 20. All in all, pretty solid. And look at that courier path. Very annoying for dogfights. He doesn't even see it. He's going to be sticking around for a while. He pings it, but no. No dice. He really wants it, but at least he's not wasting too much time on it. Like, he's looking for the opportunity if they slip up, but since they're moving it really well, he'll just he'll move to the lane. He's at least level 4. He's making things happen elsewhere. And speaking of elsewhere, we got Fan under the tower getting Viper Strike, and that attack speed slow nearly means that he misses a kill. He'll drop the Sonic Wave at the last possible second. But that's a big cooldown just for the 1-for-1. And Viper actually killed the Queen of Pain before the Queen of Pain killed Viper, which means the Viper gets half that experience and Queen of Pain gets 0. Oh boy, that is actually really nice. That's exactly what I was talking about. That Ice Armor Corrosive Skin really messed with the Queen of Pain. She thought she could just get the quick and easy auto attacks in, but it didn't work out so clean. And now, of course, the Viper has a bit of a leverage point here. So I was thinking about it, and it's probably Adong microing the courier against that Bounty Hunter. Like, oh, Wake Seek gonna be comboed up here, and that's actually just a quick kill with the Walrus Punch. Didn't get the chance to get the Flame Guard out that time. But yeah, I think it's Adong most likely microing the courier, because this guy was playing the bounty hunter before. He was able to snipe the courier twice, so he knows how this animal moves. And he's kind of able to counteract it just by saying, okay, well, the bounty hunter was last seen here, he's been missing for this long, this is where he probably is. And so far, they've moved the courier over the tree line perfectly to dodge out the bounty hunter's attempt to bring it down. We do have a glimpse back on Yang here. Looks to be probably killed off if Wakesy, yeah, just gets the searing chains. Magic Wand or not, he's in some trouble, and there is no TP to help him out, so he'll be run down gradually, but burning. The immolation will finish him off as soon as he comes back here. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Almost gets Wakesy! The creeps are still on him! But no, it's going to be Adong to tank it for him, and there's going to be a remnant away. Jeez, that was a close call. That was actually a really close call. So, the reason Tusk was up there in the first place was because Ember Spirit was trying to go for a remnant TP to refill his bottle, to refill his full health pool. So the Tusk gets baited in to cancel that, and he does cancel it with a snowball, but then he's, of course, glimpsed back and put into a fight that he very narrowly fails to take. Jeez, that was a very surprising burst. Once the Flame Guard was gone, Tusk was actually able to do some real damage, and now he's going to look for that damage on mid as the Viper doesn't see the Tusk in time, just going to get caught inside that Ice Shard Snowball combo. So the TP comes in for the slaughter once again, but Yang has already done the dirty deed, and Queen of Pain picks up a kill on the Viper. Now the Sigil coming out, going to be slowing the Lich's assault, and the Ice Shards will kill that Lich off, though Yang looks to die for it. Carrot, Wakesy rotate in. That's 4 heroes versus 2 in the mid lane, while they're taking tower bottom, and they end up making it a 2-for-1 in heroes. Really good play coming in from Yang, and that Tusk is starting to become a priority pick in my mind for this matchup. Jixing, I think, last hit the tower there. Yep. Message comes a little bit later thanks to Perfect World, but yep, he does pick it up. We're actually going to see a static kinetic kill off the Queen of Pain here. I think a glimpse back. Yep, glimpse was used there, and that puts the Queen of Pain in a circle of death. Crushing and killing. A very nice pickup there. A lot of golden experience shifting thanks to that Queen of Pain. She was up at the top of the net worth before that death, so it's a very high party kill. Almost as big of a deal as the Gyrocopter going down. Which has yet to happen. Jixing just happily farming 0, 0, and 0 with a net last hits of 61 and 8. But looking overall at team net worth, right now we're seeing VG.P pulling ahead at 3,000 in their favor, with experience pretty well zeroed out. The tipping point is when this bounty hunter starts getting involved. The experience was going to be at least equal because of the fact that the Lich keeps sacrificing. That favors ESD. But when the track starts coming out, that's going to artificially enhance VG.P's item progression. And that could be a really big deal unless ESD find ways to keep their heroes alive. So, at least for right now, Viper getting the support of the Lich, Ice Armor on his tower as well as himself, Sentry Ward in the lane, and Fan doesn't have a Tango, but gets 2 hits on the ward before the Viper. Oh, the Viper can't get the D ward in mid, so that Sentry is wasted. Lich will come in, drop another Sentry. They will clean it up this time around, but that's just annoying. That's 100 gold down the drain, just to keep the bounty hunter away from it. And not only that, but the Radiant saw exactly where the Sentry Ward was due to that exchange. The dogfights can play around it. And he wants to play around it by sniping the courier, but again, that's going to elude him. So, Adong LL trying to make a play happen. They've got their ultimates. These supports hit level 6 pretty early on, and they've even got a Sentry Ward if the bounty hunter steps a toe out of line. But we're also going to see a smoke play come out here. Tusk moving in with the Dazzle. That dust will come through. Dogfights maybe baiting a great team fight as Yang comes in, blocks off their path of retreat to the east, and combos up on the Disruptor. No Static Storm here. Chain Frost will bounce around a little bit, but Yang will survive a little bit longer. And the lag makes it impossible to know how it broke, but it did indeed break. And they kill off the Lich and the Disruptor at the cost of the Bounty Hunter. Now Jixing in some trouble, though. There'll be a crush on the Tusk to the east. He's in some real trouble. He'll go for the TP. He won't get bashed. even though Slaughter did have a point in it. Jixing, on the other hand, phasing away, Wakesy unable to keep pace without any remnants available. So, in the end, actually not too bad for VG.P. They were able to engage in that fight on pretty equal terms, and the quick pick on the Disruptor, I think, is the key. Alrighty, so Queen of Pain doing what she can. She's probably building up towards Aghanim Scepter, but you never know. Orchid's not too bad this game against Wakesy. Oh, we'll see the combo come through again. Wakesy dropping down to 50 HP, and one more hit will do it. Wakesy's going down, but Yang in the meantime takes a lot of damage, and Dazzle gets glimpsed back into an awkward position. Has the Grave, but has a flank coming in from the Tusk, who blinks actually very north, and is going to delay that kill a lot. In fact, Gyrocopter with the call down, Queen of Pain with the Sonic Wave, they're absolutely tearing them apart. And now the Slaughter running for his life, trying to get that blink out just in time. He'll get the TP away. But even still, this was heavier dive than they really wanted out of that Dazzle. I would have to say a lot of it comes down to the fact that the Slaughter blinked here when the Dazzle was here running south. And if he had just cut him off by blinking ahead of him, then that would have been a very different fight with the Dazzle going down quick. Still, though, Tusk is really doing some work, but unfortunately the Walrus Punch not going to be coming out here. Still looks like they get the kill, but the Shuriken bounce is not enough, and Carrot comes in with a two-man crush. ESD now turning it around with the Viper on the front. Yang going down under tower, and the glimpse back on Jixing might make it even more. Fan cleans up the Viper, but at the cost of his own life, it looks like, dropping down to 100 HP, and he'll be nuked down by the Lich. Oh, bottling? He survives! Blinking away. And Dazzle healing him up fine. That was a close call. But he'll slip away. The Chain Frost projectile just not fast enough this time. And although it was a misinitiation with the Walrus Punch hitting a creep right before Tusk jumps in, they're not able to turn it around in the way they wish. The Disruptor goes down again before getting off the Static Storm. And even the Slaughter failed to live through that engagement. Gyrocopter just does so much damage right now at level 11. Those cooldowns are so powerful. And Fan's actually going to find a little pick here. Lich, Ice Armor or not, is going down. And Viper, I don't think, can punish this. 3 seconds on the blink. And actually, Ember Spirit, Carrot, both moving in. Wakesy and Carrot are going to get the Dazzle. But they want more than that, and I don't know if they have the wherewithal to acquire it. Yang's back in play. Bounty Hunter's here. He's got tracks everywhere. And another mistake could easily lead to a gigantic net worth swing favoring the Radiant. Wakesy actually not doing too good in terms of overall net worth. He's very far behind the Gyrocopter, nearly 2,000 net worth behind. And that Battle Fury is going to be a long time coming. Especially if this Queen of Pain has her way. She's actually working towards his Aghanims really rapidly. I think the Ember Spirit just goes BOTs here. Not even Battle Fury, just goes for BOTs and starts just ratting the map. Because the only one that can really catch him is the Tusk. And even then, he's hard-pressed to be just killed off before he can remnant out. So I think it's actually really important the Ember Spirit just plays a game of spread the map. Gyrocopter, going to be getting his S and Y up here. Solid pickup, allows him to really just get in and out of the fights quickly. But if the Slaughter has his way and gets better blink crushes than we've seen, then we might still see some good lockdown. I mean, they got chains, crush, the kinetic field. There's a lot of ways for them to limit the movement of their opponents, no matter how fast they are. But I've got to find that opener first, and it's going to be here on the Queen of Pain. Static Storm needed to secure the kill, and that is going to be a nice little pickoff. The creeps don't get it. It's going to go 476 gold to the Disruptor, while the Tier 1 tower falls to Jixing. And they put out another one of these high wards. Apparently they know each other pretty well in the sense that they know that the other team's very frequently going to be hiding in the tree line looking for a flanking opportunity. And whether that's a glimpse or something else, it definitely could be a game changer. Tier 1 tower falls in mid as well, so ESD overall looking pretty fine. And yeah, Ember Spirit did go for the BOTs. In fact, has a haste rune, so he is impossible to gank right now.
Dire's structures are fortified.
And just a lot of items coming out soon. Looks like Bounty Hunter will look for the Guardian Greaves. Dazzle will just want an urn. And Viper's actually going to work on that mechanism too, but at such a slow pace. He's actually doing worse than the Slardar here. Oh my, the poor
Radiant's
Viper.
bottom tower is under attack.
Still about 500 gold away from the mechanism while the tier 2 is being pressured.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, I feel like if there was a failure, it was ESD's mid lane. Viper just died too much. But we're going to see the Chain Frost come out as Jixin gets a lot of spells against him. Chain Frost will help for now, but those dots keep ticking. TPing home. It looks like he'll die in the well to one of those dots. You see Yang here dancing around, putting a lot of damage into LL. They want this track gold, but it's really hard to find it. Instead, the Viper seems to be the easier target as Fan comes in. They'll kill off the Viper, the Slaughter, the Disruptor, and now they want one more. But Ember Spirit hastes away, and the Lich narrowly survives.
Is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
So, good focus, good combos, and we do see VG.P, especially the Bounty Hunter, profiting from that. That's 1,000 gold for the Bounty Hunter, 1,600 for the team as a whole, and that's a tier 2 on top. So we're actually going to be looking at this swinging up to about 7,500 and beyond. We might be even seeing like an 8,500 net worth lead. Let's see here. Alright, it looks like it's... There it is. I knew it was going to update soon. So yeah, 7,500 plus is what we're looking at here for VG.P. And, of course, experience is going to be favoring them as well. Really nice little combo there. And they're starting to really push in the map. I mean, yeah, Ember Spirit can bounce around wherever he wants and AoE farm with the BOTs, but when you don't have any tower proxies, you're pretty much always by yourself. Force Staff soon on Carrot, but Aghanim's already up for Queen of Pain. BKB next for the Gyrocopter. This is a great timing for it to have a BKB. And heck, even the Dazzle finding himself a Glimmer Cape very early on. Never really got a chance to admire this Tusk set, but it looks pretty cool. Just like the Cannon Punch, as well as the Maul. Pretty solid, gotta say. I mean, kind of World of Warcrafty, but still pretty cool. Dogfights here under the Sentry Ward. Gonna be in some trouble. They do see him, they do dust him, and they are gonna be able to nuke him down. No help for him, and probably a D ward for this Cliff Ward. We're gonna see him try to TP away. No dice on that. And if they get even just a casual kinetic field up here, they'll see the ward. Double checking, yeah, they'll see it. So that's gonna give something back the other way. And we're actually gonna see a Midas build up on the Viper. It's a little late, 20 minutes, but it's okay. The alternative would be a Maelstrom. Is Maelstrom good at all here? I gotta say no. Maelstrom's a pretty bad item to have. Mjolnir's good, obviously, but that's so much more expensive. And he's not going to be getting any gold anytime soon as he eats the Sonic Wave. Actually, Ember Spirit coming in to help him out. And they will pick up the Queen of Pain. Yang running away, but the call down, saving his life. Carrot would have otherwise had a nice Blink Crush. Instead, he's the one that's getting crushed by a lot of damage. And the Chain Frost mostly hits the creep wave. They snowball past it. They will eat a lot of damage on the tail end, though. And the... Oh, Slardar going for the crush. He does get it, but at the cost of his life. And we will see, they'll just punch their way through it. Very low HP heroes, but the Chain Frost does not stop them, and they just keep on going and going, killing off a total of 3 heroes. So not really any track gold coming into play there, as the Bounty Hunter was dead for it, the fight, but he'll be able to mech them up on the tail end, and they'll keep pushing. With a couple of Shadow Waves and a mechanism, suddenly, this Gyrocopter's back at full HP, and this tower is going to be taking some massive damage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Looks like Viper wants a piece of this action. And it looks like that tower is going to hold. They still get some good intel, though. They get the Observer Ward behind the tower. That's likely to stick. And then at least walking away with 1 track on a target. No? Oh, nice! Prediction from Adong. I think he caught a glimpse of the Bounty Hunter on the sideline there. So you're not just tracking. You're doing something a little bit more dastardly. Devious. But, yeah, we'll see that cleaned up quickly, and, they even double-check some of their cliff wards here. Really good sentry control from ESD. This is something we haven't seen from VG.P. VG.P in Game 1 were up against TA and Bounty Hunter, but after, like, the first 15-20 minutes, a couple of kills on TA they got, but for the most part, they lacked detection. And ESD have absolutely no problem buying it for themselves, dewarding everywhere across the map. They're just taking so much of a map advantage just from really smart sentry ward placements. And on top of that, they baited the bounty hunter into a trap multiple times over. There is an observer ward here. Didn't necessarily catch the smoke, but gives them a decent idea of where they're missing. There is, however, a weave, and yeah, they actually are very, very well aware of this smoke, because you look at their vision. They have an observer ward here, obviously on the other side of the map. It's just too much to just let go by itself. They'll kinetic in the pit to make sure that they're not doing Roshan, but they're very certain of this smoke. Whether or not somebody was kind of sticking out of the trees under this ward. So Fan just breaks it, they go for the tier 2 tower, and it looks like ESD will wait things out. They want Lich to be level 11, that's really important. Lich's level 2 Chain Frost much better than level 1, not just because of the increased damage, but much more importantly the 90-second cooldown. 90 seconds is a reasonable cooldown for an ultimate. 120 is always a little bit too long. Like, you're always hurting if you use that cooldown at the wrong time. But Roshan seems to be the choice. We'll see if the Disruptor can find that quick kinetic to get some intel. In some cases, you even want to just put the courier in this kind of position to scout it out. Obviously, they've worked really hard to make sure this courier doesn't get sniped, but sometimes you just really need information, and you'll do whatever it takes to get it. For now, though, there's no information to be had. VG.P back in their own jungle doing very simple things. And they'll see the Yang Tusk, they'll see movement in this general area, and they'll feel perfectly safe to take this tier 1 top. Battle Fury coming up in just a little bit here for Wakesy. Tier 1 tower is certainly going to be falling. And I think that ESD want to hold the line down bottom. The question is whether or not they can get there fast enough.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Get some wards down behind enemy lines.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
And it looks like they're not going to be able to. They want to certainly defend this, but they can't rally the troops, and they're not wasting any time. They're just farming up their jungle and saying, okay, well, we can't hold that, we can't hold that. Let's look at the tier 3 instead. And it looks like Gyrocopter's happy to force that. He says, okay, I've got massive weave armor stacks right now. Gonna go ahead and pop the glyph at the very least, and maybe even look for more. Just want to get everybody TP'd out and reduce the efficiency of the opponent's farming patterns.
Radiant's top tower.
In the meantime, Gyrocopter, he gets a TP top and just farm up a bunch of creep waves. While ESD have to deal with these. Like, they'd love to smoke right now, but they have to clear out that creep wave first. And the Radiant will not see it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Double damage rune, though. This fight could turn very quickly against them. Even with the Gyrocopter not there, thanks to that DD. But it's going to be on Yang the Tusk. That Walrus Punch is still a really good crit multiplier. But it's hard to say that it's going to just straight up kill a support, even if he gets this full combo with the DD rune. Instead, we're going to be seeing Carrot jumping forward. Do they have detection? Doesn't look like it. Looks like that was broken, but they're still going to find Yang the Tusk, who is not going to be mech'd up and try to survive that Static Storm, that Shallow Grave, and now we're going to see Gyrocopter in the fight. But this is a good Chain Frost, going to be bouncing around quite a bit here to a lot of VG.P members. No, Tusk actually bought back, and it travels all the way to meet him. That is crazy. This Chain Frost going all the way across the world, but more importantly, the Disruptor picked up. 3 cores running away, and the Viper trying to TP, but failing to do so. That was crazy. The Chain Frost was heading towards the Tusk, and what it normally does is it bounces off of the corpse of the Tusk and then moves into the next nearest enemy. But because he bought back, it just went on a magical journey all the way towards the Radiant Fountain and then towards the Tusk after he made that TP. So, very interesting movement as a result of all that. But the end result is a pretty favorable trade for VG.P, even though it did cost them the Tusk's buyback. They'll go ahead, clean up Roshan, just as his buyback penalty is expiring. Yeah, he's going to get the full bounty for that. And the last hit goes to Jixing. Once again, 200 clean gold and an Aegis for him. That's, I think, a 9-second BKB now? Yeah, just the first use in that last team fight. So, ESD really thought they had a chance just smoking in from the eastern side, going in. But as soon as Gyrocopter got done farming the top lane, he immediately jetted over to help his allies in the jungle. So he knew that being separate from them would be something that ESD would try to take advantage of. Tusk even looking for an opportunity here? Nah, just sharding, just being annoying. Just keeping tabs on everything everybody's doing. Ember Spirit has Battle Fury. I guess he goes for the lesser crit now. Sometimes you'll see Manta style, but I don't think this is the game for it. I actually see a very active position for VG.P. I mean, I know they have the Aegis on the gyrocopter, but they still seem very confident in their ability to take just about any kind of a fight. And the Viper did go for that Midas post 20 minutes, probably close to like 24. I didn't keep track of the timing, but he's had a very slow game, and as you can see, even with a hand of Midas, he's still far beyond the net worth leader. In fact, about 5,500 net worth behind. Jixing topping out at level 16, but everybody else having okay levels. Like I said, the key one being the Lich, I would say. A lot of heroes hitting their level 2 ultimates.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
In fact, only the Static Storm is level 1, and that's not the end of the world if you don't have it at rank 2. Limp's coming back here, just to a kind of neutral zone though. Jixing not even going to pop the BKB for it, despite Adong's hope that he would. Viper just trying to tank up with the Sange now. I'm okay with this Viper build if you're playing with momentum, but I feel like playing from behind, it just feels so weak. Like, you just don't do anything. I mean, obviously that's the Viper's fault that he loses the lane, and that's just something that they had to deal with from that point forward. But, I don't know, Viper without momentum, he's not a late game core. He barely contributes in that capacity. I don't know, it's really tough. And I mean, I can't really mention an alternative item for him to go, other than SMY, for him to just get involved. Like, as much as I'd like to talk about how good Crimson Guard is against Flat Cannon, I feel like you need a mix of movement speed and damage, and SMY is going to give it to you. Another smoke breaks, the dust delayed, but they'll double pop dust and find dogfights here with Carrots blink forward. So dogfights will be caught out, but quick reinforcements. Do they want to fight this choke point though? Yang coming in, gonna go for the snowball. Great chain frost. That's the problem with the choke point. They take a lot of damage to that chain frost. They lose the bounty hunter first and foremost, and now trying to disengage. It bounces over to the creep wave, I believe, and then back over to Yang, taking so many hits. But in the end, they still clean up 2. They still have so much damage and so much healing thanks to the Dazzle. They're able to fight in spite of the cold. They get that Hex out very early on in the fight, and that just allows them to clean up the Slardar first and foremost. He also used Blink and Force to get in position there, which gave him no tool of disengage. So, despite the loss of the Bounty Hunter, they'll go ahead and forge ahead to the next tower. Ice Armored as it may be, this is tier 3 dropping down quickly. Ember Spirit doing what he can to split push, but now that the BOTs are back up, he really needs to start looking at high ground defense, and here we are. Gonna get that slight cleave out onto Jixing. Hits him pretty hard. And the Searing Chains hits as well. But Viper, I don't think he can punish that position, and the Gyrocopter will slip away. I get that there's more packets to lose in a fight, but it sucks so much when I get like pretty clear movement from Perfect World, pretty clear feed until the fights, and then it all goes nuts. Chain Frost. Just don't cast Chain Frost anymore, and I think I won't lag. That's the new plan. LL, sorry. Alrighty, so we've got Jixing MKB up and ready to roll. Is he on 8 seconds now on his BKB? Yes, sirree. Looking really good. This Gyrocopter is pretty much large and in charge. There's nothing that can really shut him down unless he gets caught by the Crush before he gets to pop his BKB. And even then, there's no real follow-up stun. There's obviously no Aghanims on the Disruptor, so Gyrocopter's really going to always get his BKB off and usually be able to put it to full effect. Wixie does go for the Yasha at least. Maybe Manta? I'm not a big fan of the Manta style here, but I mean, you're up against Sonic Wave, Call Down. It really is just a very slow split push. And your base, Ember Spirits, I've said this many times, but Ember Spirits' base statistics are really weak. Like, this guy has 51 base agility strength and 49 base intelligence. Obviously, that's at level 17. It's not base stats, but that's his stat growth as well as his base stats combined together to create a really shitty illusion to push with. So, all in all, unless you're baiting big combo spells, I really don't feel like the illusions are really going to create too much value. And especially before they get crit, they just hit like a wet noodle. Manta does break track, so maybe you can kind of move unseen a little bit more. But otherwise, I'm just not convinced. And Jixing, look how fast he's farming to a real item. Yeah, you can go for your Manta-style Ember Spirit, but Jixing is about to have a frigging Butterfly. And that's just not going to be something the Ember Spirit can really easily contest. He's just going to have to keep ratting. And actually finding an opportunity here on Fan, but he's got that sight. Going to try to trade it out. The kinetic field isn't there in time. And the Snowball actually pulls him right back through. They want to go on Wakesy here. And he won't be able to get the jump away. He actually goes down. Adong, same thing. Tries to TP. But it's not going to come out fast enough. And that's going to be 2 for no. VG.P 27-17. Just riding high to a net worth experience and potentially a Dota 2 victory. At this point, it's going to take some massive Chain Frost to really get them back together. I just feel like Carrot kind of underperformed on the Slardar. His crushes have been okay, but not ideal. And then, really, the Viper game, completely night and day between Game 1 and Game 2. His Templar Assassin seemed comfortable, seemed to work really well, and this Viper, it seems like it was a pick that they just said, oh, let's run Viper. I don't have his history up in front of me, but he doesn't seem like a Viper player. It seems like he got caught off guard by just having to play the hero, or either that or he doesn't face Bounty Hunter enough. Anyways, LL gets comboed up hard. Wow. They just go in. They do pop the Hex for him, but otherwise the Lich just goes down for the count, and that's no more luck for Chain Frost for you. You don't get a single one with his Lich down for 35 seconds. Jixing just destroying the melee barracks and now looking for the ranged. Viper's got a hold as best he can, but it's just so difficult. They're not even going to risk anything. As soon as the Ember Spirit's up, they're like heading out. Take one melee racks, take a tier 3, walk away, and continue to build that advantage. Butterfly going to be complete in just a moment here. And looks like X is picking up a Solar Crest as well. There's the crit coming from Ember. I'm sure he has his reasons for going for Yasha and not Manta, but I don't really have many good ones. Movement speed's obviously great. And maybe it's just the swiftness with which you can run around with Activate Fire Remnant. 450 movement speed with those BOTs, but movement speed is not going to help you out of this one. Comboing up the Hex, the double blink, the Walrus Punch. They kill him off, and even the Slardar are in some trouble here. Gets daggered up, but he'll get away. And Ember does have buyback, but if he's forced to use it, he'll be so far behind the Gyrocopter, there's pretty much no path of return. Like right now, he's already just completely destitute compared to this high roller Gyro, 21.5k net worth, 625 GPM. So if the Ember Spirit buys back to just cleave down creeps at a 60% reduced value, he won't even have half the net worth the Gyrocopter's going to find this game. The weave, it did hit. Okay, again another lagging thing, but no, the weave hits on 3. They'll siege with it, and they'll take this tier 3 down while the creeps push in mid. But actually, Carrot looking for the pounce instead gets pounced upon. A good chain of disables, but the 4 staffs bring him to the base. Despite all those stuns flying his way, he actually survives, and they'll just glyph up the tier 3. This means the Ember Spirit's going to be back, and they don't want to take a 5-on-5. VG.P don't need to risk a fair fight, so they will run. With the Slardar being alive. If the Slardar dies, I think they still keep going, and they just keep in mind where the Ember Spirit will be approaching from. But with the Slardar up, and the re-engage potential so strong, it's just not worth it. They'll go for Roshan. But this gives ESD an opportunity. Wakesy will clear things out. They do keep the ranged racks alive just barely. And from here, they'll look to try to bring it back piece by little piece. Single Aegis probably going to the Gyrocopter here. 8 seconds on his BKB. Glimmer Solar? I don't know. Tusk actually has a VKB too. Showed it off there for a 9-second duration. And it looks like he's looking for Lotus Orb himself. Could be great to echo the Chain Frost if he gets that opportunity.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
I'm not sure where they go from here. ESD don't really have a lineup that fights outside the base. VG.P have the most farmed gyrocopter on the planet, and he's got a second life now, making him very confident as he pushes on the bottom tier 3. They seem to be switching lanes a lot, but in the end, a couple of pops on the range racks and mid, and they're gonna just be able to run over the base through just continuous pressure. Jixing will eat a Viper Strike here. That is going to be on cooldown for 30 seconds, but all the same, it does force them out of the base, and the range creeps are held at bay momentarily with that Sleight of Fist. No Hex opening yet. Queen of Pain's looking for it, though. She's got Shivas, she's got Invis, and she has the Hex. So fun. Looking for that opening. It's going to be Yang jumping in onto Carrot here, but who's going to be disabled by the Hex? Nice Sonic Wave, nice Scream, but so far just cleaning things up without the active items. The Chain Frost starts bouncing, but the BKBs eat most of it, and they'll be fine. Triple buyback trying to hold the line. ESD with their midnight hour, their final stand, and it's just not enough. They're getting caught out. Walrus Punch after Walrus Punch, losing lives and only picking up the Aegis off the gyrocopter. Diving deeper and deeper, Fan go in, get the Hex on an Ember. It doesn't get a kill, but it does force him back as they kill off every living family member. And now we see the racks being the final threshold for their victory. LL calls the GG. 25,000 net worth, 27,000 experience. VG.P take game 2. So, I mean, this was built up over a long time, ever since the Bounty Hunter started getting track momentum. That one fight, he got like 1,000 gold. That's where I knew that this game would just start snowballing, unless ESD found some really miraculous plays, and they played pretty average. Pretty much what you'd expect with the lineup. Not bad, necessarily, after the unfortunate Viper laning phase, but they just didn't outperform VG.P, and VG.P with their draft and with the momentum they got early from the Bounty Hunter still did plenty. I really like the ESD Courier micro. I think that Adong probably played one of the best Disruptor games in that capacity, just supporting really well, but you can only do so much in that position, and eventually the cores really have to do something, and Viper just isn't one of those heroes that can just start brute forcing through tough situations while also being underfarmed. He's not a comeback core, he's a snowball core, and they weren't really able to do much in terms of hard tower pressure, any real push. It all comes back down to that mid lane. The Viper got sacrifice on his lane on a range creep, but still, and then he fought with his poison attack, and I gotta go back to pretty much the easiest first blood of Bounty Hunter's life, where the Viper just sat there and took it over and over, despite the Viper being just a little bit away from tower range. That's the start, and it just goes to a bit of a foregone conclusion. VG.P playing a great game, ESD not playing bad, but it does end up going to a game to win for VG Gaming Potential, which is actually going to bring them to another draw here in Star Ladder I-League China. So their first match they did draw, their second one they draw now against ESD, and that means both teams will be acquiring 1 point here in the group stage. On the other hand, I believe there's another game that was played in Group A that netted a... Nope, that one was a draw too. FDDA was the only other team that played in Group A so far. So that's a bit of a wash right now. It still could be anybody's group to grab. eHome is in that group, or... Yeah, I think that's the full eHome. No, there's two. Yes, eHome.L is the standard eHome lineup, and then eHome.K is eHome Kings. Anyways, those... pretty much I would say right now VG.P are trying to fight for top 2. eHome is still probably going to be the clear favorite in that group, but FTDA and ESD, they've both tied with, and that doesn't bode well for their progression here. Might be a bit of a tiebreaker for them, and we'll see that in a few days. Anyways, we do have one more match for this evening here in Star Ladder I-League China. It is going to be, if I can pull up the schedule, Braveheart versus Duo Bao. So we'll be seeing that match come up pretty much as soon as possible, as we're already about 75 minutes behind schedule. At the beginning of the day, there were some technical issues for the Chinese casters. About an hour later, there were some technical issues for me, but we're doing the best we can here. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.